pumping around in your dun-dun-duns, and then you were like, you know what? Forget these shoes. Let me join the Navy. How'd that go around? How'd that happen?
Well, actually, I went to college first. I went to North Carolina School of the Arts.
So you, and even crazier, so you went to the faggotry of a theater school.
Yeah.
And then what?
It was like, I also went to an arts magnet high school, which was basically college and high school. So, excuse me, I ain't even ate none, got gas.
Oh.
I mean, there was nothing new and exciting. So my dad was already struggling, paying $700 and something a semester.
Right.
And I was like, Dad, just keep that money. Just keep it, because it's just not, I'm not up for another 4 years of this. So I came home thinking I was going to go back to college.
And how long had you been in school already?
Only 2 semesters.
2 semesters, but you had just come from 4 years of drama, high school.
Yes, I'm talking about, we was already in college, baby.
Yeah.
You know, performing arts, we was already in college. So I came home thinking I was going to go back in college, but that's when I got into my first real, actual, meaningful, I love you, you love me type of relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So after that breakup, and I almost lost my life.
Now, please don't just dash over that.
No fast forward.
Well, now, how did that happen?
Well, I did not realize what true love was until after the fact. And I knew then that I was really in love with that person. And being in love with that person and not being able to be with them drives you to a point of depression that you don't know, where you don't know where that you are in that state. So I indulged in ecstasy. I indulged in cocaine, and I indulged in marijuana even more.
Right.
And it got so to the point to where I had did too much one night. And my career, that was at the prime of my career.
Right.
And
because you were up in the club, drugs were easily available.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it wasn't. You know, we go to the car and do our drugs. That was how we was back in the day.
Oh right, so because your mother would not be allowing it in the club, so you'd sneak off and do it.
Yeah, so I just indulged in it too much and didn't realize that I was in depression. And I had already. We had laid down that night and I already knew that I had did too much.
Right.
But I'll just say this, through divine intervention, I was able to come out of that. And I have no taste for it, and I've been drug-free since 2001.
All right.
Yeah. So
all right.
After
that, for drug-free. She's got drug-free. Come on now. You're not doing the damn job.
Yeah.
She's late. Just like Kennedy said.
Okay.
Drug-free.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Drug-free.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Work on it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you snapped out of that.
Yeah, and then right then I knew I needed to revamp. And this recruiter called me just out of the blue. And I just felt like it was a sign from God to go and get some discipline in my life and to restructure my life. And that's exactly what the Navy did.
Wow.
It made me a self-motivator. It made me even more self-sufficient. And it taught me how to talk to people. You know, and I did a lot of healing in the Navy. So that's when I went to the Navy. It was after all of that stuff had happened to me.
And you were already working as a drag queen in the clubs, and then you decided to
I stopped doing drag.
She went back to being a man.
Yeah, I stopped doing drag, and then after I got to my duty station in the Navy, that's when I got back in drag, started doing drag.
I love that. I went in for training, took a break from drag, and then as soon as I got stationed, I went back to drag.
Exactly, honey. Yeah.
And that was Don't Ask, Don't Tell period. So
yeah,
did
it was.
You have to go from like Kennedy to Kennedy.
No, I was myself. Because Don't Ask, Don't Tell meaning they can see you.
They can see you.
You know, they can see you and they can see that, you know, you have those tendencies, but they can't ask you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I was respected. I was respected. Hell, I was doing the girls' faces and makeup and all that stuff, you know, that I worked with. So I was respected, but as far as my sexuality was concerned, but I was really disrespected as far as rank.
Oh, really?
in the Navy, and I was young, and I allowed the situations that happened in the Navy to mess everything up for me.
Like what? What was it?
It was my discharge. You know, that was the first time that I experienced depression, and that was the first time that I was diagnosed as severely depressed. And I mean, I tried to kill myself twice.
And this is after the Navy.
This was before.
This is before the Navy, and this is what led you to the Navy.
Yeah, and I was in an abusive relationship while in the Navy. I was beat on.
With another Navy guy?
No, I was in another relationship. That was my second real relationship.
Right, and you know those early relationships, you go real deep, and you can kind of lose yourself, especially when you're young.
Yeah. So I did. And so on top of that, and dealing with the stuff in the Navy, it really took a toll on me. And that was when I was first introduced to antidepressants. And it just brought me to a place where I just didn't care anymore. So it was like I had already been late. I had already been coming in late, so it was my birthday. And it was like, Asbury, you know if you're late, you're going to Captain's Mass. By then, I didn't really give a shit. Because I was going to celebrate my birthday, and I didn't give a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I knew I was late. So when I came to work late, I knew that was it. So at lunch, I saved them the trouble of, telling me I was in trouble, and I just walked out.
Wow. And that was it?
Yeah.
In the Navy?
They found some bullshit-ass discharge.
Oh, so then they threw, instead of you leaving, they threw some kind of negative
I didn't
discharge on
have
you.
a captain's mask. I'm supposed to have a captain's mask, and I'm supposed to sign my DD 214 and all that kind of stuff. They mailed it to me. It was.
I don't know what any of that stuff means, but I can imagine.
It was like your discharge paper.
Right. Okay.
But everything's supposed to be formal, and it wasn't.
Right.
So
that you ended the Navy on a sour note.
I ended on a sour note, and I had been trying to fight to appeal it, but the person that was helping me lost all my records.
Wow.
So I'm just, just one day at a time. If the opportunity arises where somebody can help me to appeal my discharge, then I'm going to take it.
That's still something you'd be interested in, even after all these years.
I still worked hard. And, it took my lieutenant to apologize to me for the way he talked to me and to say, apparently, you were doing something because don't nobody know how to do your job.
Right. Right.
So I worked hard, and I just want what's mine. I'm not trying to get no disability or anything like that. I just want what's mine.
Well, the Navy, she's talking to you, all right? Lady Red, I need you to report to your captain's mast right now.
All hands on deck.